everyone. You're welcome to this podcast. Eunice Adebango in my space. Drum roll. You're welcome to my space, sir.
Thank you.
It is my space. I just have to be clear, yeah? Don't take over. Don't take over. You know, some of these people, they just come to your space, they take over their space. I have to be clear, right?
Yeah, not with me, right?
Uh-huh. It will be fine. Okay. Okay, so you're welcome to my space, and today I have come with you. I've come together with my wise man. Give me a high five. Ooh, ooh. Yes, I have come with my wise man, and we are going to take you through talking about communication, the lifeblood of every relationship. He's going to introduce himself, I guess. Do you want to introduce yourself? I introduce you.
Introduce me.
I introduce you. You people, let me tell you something. Brand Adubango. Anyhow, so this is my husband of how many years? 18. Oh my God, we are walking into the 19th year like. You don't know how to dance a little. Anyhow, so this is my husband, my friend of how many years?
Oh, that's about, I don't know, the 6 years, so 24.
24 years. Oh my God. You're going to be louder because the people at the back are not hearing. How many years?
About 24 years.
24 good years. So Brand has been my friend for 24, coming 25 years actually. And he's my spouse for 18 years. And we are going into our 19th, and we have 3 children, Israel, Ronel, and Adriel. God has blessed us so much. He's an engineer. So welcome, engineer, sir.
Thank you.
And he loves engineering with all his heart and mind and soul. Okay, maybe not his soul, because that we reserve for God, right? But you're welcome to my space. Those of you who came for Travels of a Mother of this year, you met Brand in person, and he's here today to give to us some beautiful nuggets. He's going to be back next week, and we are doing this podcast together because it has become sort of like, it's now becoming a habit. As we are coming towards an anniversary, we do something together. Ochidaba, I think we should start to do something together when it's coming to our birthdays also, right? Yeah, it's a good thing, eh? But welcome back. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome back, sir. So, everybody that is here, we are going to start this podcast by sharing a few things to make Brand, like settle into Motiek Interiors. We want to thank Motiek Interiors for honoring us and having us in their space. I want to say thank you to Sissy Faces. Honey, how do I look?
You look great.
You're not scared.
No, you're still the same.
I'm still the same. Yeah, Brand doesn't like that makeup where I appear and he's like, is this still my wife? But yeah, Sissy Faces on the brushes, and Eunice Kitchen is the sponsor of this podcast. So Brand, I finished to introduce you. You're the father of my children. You're my best friend, my bosom buddy, my blue rose, an engineer par excellence. I have introduced you. Now, I want us to share what are maybe 1 or 2 incidents that you consider to be some of the funniest things that you have encountered in this marriage. Tell us.
Thank you. I think one of the funniest things that we've done is to get to dance together when we have no music, and just enjoy that moment.
Dancing to no music. Okay. Funny stuff, eh? Now let me remind you of something really funny that has happened in this marriage that sometimes I think about and I'm just alone and I start laughing. So guys, or people, let me not say guys, eh? Someone told me that you might call people guys and they are professors and distinguished people listening in. But there was this one time we were in bed with Brand. Brand has this thing where he usually is the last one. Usually, by the way, you're the last person to shower. Because even when Brand has the opportunity to shower first, he see himself and then he will shower last. And so, because he usually showers last, he comes into bed when I'm already warm and he's really cold. And he's cold and he wants to put his cold body, his cold butt, specifically on me. So he comes into bed this one time. Brand's Luganda is a bit suspect. So he comes to bed this one time and he's very, very cold. But we had also been playing a game of, what is that? You know, where you poking each other, tickling. So he comes into bed and we had been tickling each other before that. So he had had me say, you're tickling me, but in Luganda, you know. So tickling in Luganda is kunyonyogera. So he comes in bed and he's very cold. And then I tell him, ngonyogoga. Now, he wasn't tickling me at the time I said onyogoga. So he was confused. He said, but me, I'm not tickling you. And I'm like, no. Onyogoga, you know, and then I said, no, you're nyogogaring. And then it's like, but I'm not tickling you. So in his mind, because I told him nyogogaring, nyonyogeraring. Do you even know the difference up to now? Like right now, if we were not on the podcast and I said it, would you even know?
Now I know.
Now you know, eh? Yeah. So from that time on, I remember that every time that, you know, he comes into bed, instead of saying he's cold, I use the other word, you're tickling me, and we usually just laugh. But that thing makes me laugh. Like I still laugh even when I'm alone, and I'm like, but sincerely, Brand. The other joke that goes around in our marriage is the thing about believers. You know the meaning of the word believers, eh? You know, like you know, the funny things Balokole do, and you know, so sometimes Brand would do something, one of the things, and I'll be like, Egwe, you are being a believer, and you know, we just laugh. But anyhow, enough of those. What is that thing, that unexpected thing that you learned about me when we got married? And I will also share that thing that I didn't think you were. Then you shocked me. And I was like, brother, are we sure that you are still born again? Anyhow, share with us. What's that thing?
For me, it's getting to know the vulnerable part of you, because I think out there you look very strong and able to conquer so many things. And now being able to have you in your weakest moments and share some of your, areas of weaknesses, especially to get support from me. Yeah, it's something that I didn't expect, you know. Yeah.
Okay.
Something that I
So when you were
totally-
getting married, you were marrying Badang, the strongest man in Singapore.
in a sense, someone stable and strong enough for many things.
Sorry to disappoint you. Anyhow, for me, the most unexpected thing, do you want me to tell? The most unexpected thing about Brand is Brand was so prim and proper. He was the nice guy, the quiet guy. In fact, I even almost said no, because I was like, there's not going to be any fun here. I am fun loving. I was like, there is not going to be any romance here. Brand is caring, but he didn't look like he was romantic. You know, those two are different. The outcome. So I was like, I am signing up to a lifetime of hallelujah boredom in every way, you know. But the most unexpected thing about you is how romantic you are. I mean, I still cannot believe that 18 years later, you kiss me before you get out of the room. And what shocks me are those mornings where you actually, by the way, do you know you sometimes get out of the house, then you remember and you come back? Do you notice?
Yeah.
Or you don't notice? You are like a robot, you are just moving. But Brand can get out of the house, like, because most of the time, like let's say maybe 85% of the time, he gets out of home before me because he takes the children and whatever. But sometimes even the children are seated in the car and he has gone, and there've even been times when you've started the engine and I've had it. And then Brand will come back to the bedroom and will give me that kiss before he goes. And it's the way you touch me when you do it. It's not fulfilling all righteousness. It's the way you touch me when you do it. It's the way you hold me when you do it. It's the words you say when you do it. And man, I don't know how you sustain that, because when I got I didn't like kisses. You know that, eh? Hasn't that been the unexpected thing lately?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Suddenly I started to love kisses. That's like, even me, it is unexpected. Yeah. So, yeah, you have surprised me in a nice way. I surprised you in a bad way, but you surprised me in a
Not
nice
at
way.
all. Yours is not a bad way as well.
It's not a bad way as well. Okay, so yeah, that's the most unexpected thing that, yeah, there are many, but that shocked me to the core. I was like, whoa, whoa, he actually can kiss. Oh my God. I thought he just speaks in tongues. Anyhow, moving on. It's been a good 18 years, Brand. And I want to say thank you for giving me a good 18 years. Yeah, it's been good. Do you have anything to say to me? Or why we just move on?
You've been good as well in the 18 years. You've made it easy.
Uh-huh. I've made things easy. I've been low maintenance.
Yeah.
People like low maintenance people. Can you imagine? Wow, Brand. I am going to become, but I want to warn you, I'm going to become high maintenance. You know what I told you? Huh? I'm going to become high maintenance. May the people who are watching, the grace is sufficient. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about communication. And as you can see, I love talking to Brand a lot. Communication is one of those areas where we struggled quite a bit in our marriage. And the reason why we struggled is because I thought I was communicating and I thought we were communicating. And Brad thought we were not communicating. He's like the master, the king of communication. Hallelujah. He would think I'm not communicating. And so every time we had a fight, he would be like, no, the only thing is communicate. By the way, that thing used to annoy me. I'd be like, what does he mean? What? You know? But today, Brand is going to teach us quite a bit. Most of my questions are going to come from how he's teaching us or what he's teaching us about communication. It has been said that communication is the lifeblood of every relationship. And what has made our relationship work is this thing called communication. Being able to talk, being able to speak, being able to connect, because you're going to realize that as you raise children, if you do not communicate with each other, you're going to fail as you raise children. As you make love, intimacy, if you're not good at communicating, you are going to struggle. You're going to realize that as you plan your finances, if you're not good at communication, you're going to struggle. You're going to find that as you pray together, if your communication is not good, you're going to struggle. So communication is sort of like a thread that is gently weaved through everything in the marriage. So, Brand, I want to read a scripture in Matthew chapter 12, verse 35. And it says, good people bring good things out of their hearts, but evil people bring evil things out of their hearts. Because communication is a matter of heart to heart. So therefore, it means that if hearts and minds are going to communicate, it has to be good hearts and good minds that are connecting. If the heart is not good and the mind is not good, then the communication is going to be bad, right? I want you to take it on from there and just talk about the heart and the mind as a tool of communication. And then immediately you will just take us through, you will go through the levels of communication. I'm just going to be listening and I'm going to be asking questions to the wise man. Welcome. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, talking communication, it's something we all do. Maybe how our understanding of it is different. And yes, we know that ladies and gentlemen, or boys and girls, have been taught or naturally have different levels at which they communicate. But it's important for all of us to understand what communication is and use it effectively. And that is even more critical when we get into a marriage relationship, because it can create a lot of conflicts, a lot of tension if it's not understood and used well. But basically, communication is about sharing information, you know. I will tell you, this is how my day was at the end of the day. And in that way, I'm communicating to you. And it involves you listening to what I am saying. But also, even myself, I should be able to listen to what I'm saying to know that I am passing the right information or message. And also, you should be able to confirm that really that is what I've intended to communicate to you. If there is a gap in that, then we'll not be able to know the full purpose and how to be able to act. So it's important that one, I communicate clearly, and you receiving the information or anyone else should be able to receive the full extent of the communication. So as we are told, communication is both to the words that are spoken, but even the non-verbal aspects of communication. All those have to be understood. Again, the non-verbal, they tell us that actually has the bigger percentage of what we communicate. So it's important to study the body language, the gestures, more than just the words that someone is saying, because through that, someone is communicating their feelings, which could be their pain or excitement, and that speaks to us differently.
And I'm a master at communicating my excitement, right?
Yeah. So I need to be able to feel that excitement. And for the full extent of that communication, I should join in a sense, because if you're excited and I'm not, you'll be wondering, have you really communicated? Am I really feeling what you're feeling? Just like the other way around, if you're not happy, the mood will be different. I should be able to read that mood and be able to see how I'm able to use it for our good. So that's an important thing that we need to master in communication. And it requires attention, it requires focus. We used to talk about that, where I would want to put the phone aside, get our attention onto each other, and be able to just connect and communicate. One of those things we've talked about, LDV, yes.
That is distance of distinct vision.
Yes.
People are going to say this people of physics and engineering. This time, let's leave the LDDV.
Yeah, but that is to point to the fact that, you want to connect at that close level and have the focus so that you're able to grasp what someone is saying, to feel them and to hear them in what they say.
Okay, so we are saying that communication is not just the words, but it is also the environment, because certain words are going to come out in a certain environment, and that is why we tell couples, go out, eat out, sleep out, because that is all going to sort of affect your communication.
And the timing as well.
And then we are saying the expression of the feelings, and then we are also saying the intonation of those words, because I can say I'm happy. And the words have, the gestures are different, the tone is different, the timing is different, the mood is different. Or I can say, yeah, I'm excited, but excitement comes with certain actions. So we are saying all that is entailed in communication. So when I communicate, you should be able to feel the exclamation marks where they are. You should be able to feel the comma where it is. And why are you laughing? I know.
I'm imagining where the commas can
You're
be.
imagining where the commas have been. That is one of the other funny things about us in marriage, where I would tell Brand stories. Do you want to tell that part? I would tell Brand stories, and and the way I tell my stories, I leave one story, and then I pick up another story and a third one. Then I just come back to the first story, and then while I am talking, for me, I'm following my things. Brand is like, so He's like, so which story are we on right now? And I'm like, how can you not know where we are? Like, if I told you we stopped at the bus, then the other one was about food. When I said, then the bus continued, you should know. And we really had a big fight about that. So I remember because of the fight, I had to learn to make an announcement. Like, I tell him now this story. I put a full stop properly. I tell him this story has ended, eh? Or I tell him there is a comma. I'm like, by the way, I'm going to come back to this one. Then I first I first do brand or coach Susa, but that's true. I'll do a paragraph, then I finish the paragraph, then I come back to this one, then I tell, now I am back to the other comma. And he usually laughs. He's like, I have suffered in this marriage. That is one of, by the way, the words we use a lot. I have suffered in this marriage. Not to really mean suffering, but it's one of the fun points. So you've expounded very well on what communication is. And I hope that people now know, because even the mood of the light, the mood of the day, you know how sometimes we want to talk and I tell him and I tell you, I don't feel you because the light is off, you know, or sometimes I say the light is too bright, or sometimes, you know, all those things are part of communication. Now, you have taught me so well and many other people about the 5 levels of communication. I want you to take some time and teach my audience, or our audience, our people, the 5 levels of communication.
Thank you. Now, there are different levels depending on which article or source you refer to. But for this purpose, I will talk about the 5 levels as I have them here. The first level being self-communication, and the second being sharing about people. Level 3 is personal opinions, and level 4 is my feelings and experience. And then level 5 is my needs, emotions, and desires. Now, even as I get to explain the levels, I want to say that we can be, say, in a marriage setting at many of these levels. Actually, these levels are in order of the level of growth that you have and how you're able to freely and fully communicate with each other. For strangers, let's say if you meet someone the first time, you're only going to talk about the level of safe communication, where you'll ask general questions, you know, how is the country, how is the environment, you know, things like that, you know. It's safe, it's just general, and yes, that is okay for a start, but in a marriage setting, certainly it should go beyond that, you know. Even as you grow in any kind of friendship, you should be able to move beyond that. So in a particular meeting, when you meet someone and you're talking, yes, there will be that bit of trying to establish a connection, which will involve level 1, but you should quickly change to the next level and can run through all the different levels, depending on how comfortable you feel with someone as you communicate with them.
So basically, it means that self-communication is really with strangers or people that you're not so vested into emotionally.
Yes.
So if in your marriage you are at self-communication, it means that
As the highest level.
As the highest level, then it means that you're strangers.
There's a lot of work to do yet. And then there is a second level, which is sharing about people, normally other people, you know. You begin to now ask, so how is your family? Yes, how is your village? You know, you begin to narrow it down to specifics. Because in the first level, you get to know them, know where they come from, and things like that. And then in the second level, you're beginning now to narrow down to that level. How are your people at home? You know, your siblings, your parents, your workplace. So that's the level where you begin to talk about generally other people. You know, it's not about this particular person, but you're trying to, you know, come out from the circle, you know, inward.
So in marriage, that looks like now I am a bit, I am concerned about your workmates. Yes. I am so that is the level at which I ask you how your day was. That's the level. That's the level where I ask you who you were with for lunch. That's the level where I ask about your grandmother, your auntie. It is now about other people.
Yes, people connected to you. So in that way, you're beginning to understand and get to know that aspect of someone. And then the third level is now personal opinions. You begin to find out about this particular person, but also you can share about your own, opinions and views. You feel to an extent that you're having a certain rapport and a certain level of being comfortable, sharing certain things. Yes, you're building now that trust to a bigger level. So you can be able to now begin to express what you think and also ask that from the person. What do you think about this? How do you feel about it?
I can tell you my political party without feeling like you are going to judge me.
Yeah.
At that level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because somehow you've got to know a bit of the background. Yeah. Yeah. So that will be the third level.
And there are certain marriages that actually stay at that level for a long time.
Yes.
Why do we fail to move from the level of sharing about other people to the level of now sharing our feelings? Because the place of sharing feelings that's where you're vulnerable. It is a very sticky place.
Actually, feelings is on level 4.
Okay.
Okay. This level of what you think, your opinions, it's a certain level of vulnerability that you're getting into. And some people are not comfortable exposing themselves in terms of what they think because they fear people judging them and beginning to think, okay, why do you think like this? How can you think like that? So they don't want that. So they don't want that deeper level of being vulnerable. And so they will try and keep it safe, only share a certain little bit. And that point is just about the thinking. The feelings and the experiences come later.
Do you think that it is good for a couple to get married when they have not even reached this level of communication?
It's not safe. It's not advisable because that means you are getting into an environment where you totally don't know much. And yet your decision should be based on the fact that someone has fully given you the information. You've gotten to know them as a person, not about their environment, not about their people, but about themselves, where they are confident enough to share their thinking, because that helps you to pursue your common goal, your common purpose. If you cannot share those goals and purposes, which are your thoughts and opinions at that point, then getting into marriage together is going to be a lot of work and there will be a lot of challenges.
So it also means that if you are dating someone and you see, number one, that they are edgy about sharing about themselves, then it is sort of a flag, or it is something that you need to work through. But also if you're dating someone and you're getting towards marriage and you discover that this person is that shuts you down, doesn't want you, I think
Yeah, those are signs that they will not even later share much more because
or they will not allow you to
they
share.
will not, yes. And that is where people lose themselves in the process because you're being shut down because someone doesn't appreciate your opinion or your thoughts. And how will it be if you go along, Your views probably will not be considered. And you lose yourself, you lose your esteem, you lose your worth and value in the whole process. And doesn't serve well for the good of the
For the good of the
relationship.
marriage. In this marriage, is there a time where you felt like I was not allowing you to get through to that level of communication? And if yes, which I know is yes, how did you work through, or how did we work through that?
Yes, we had moments where I didn't have that freedom to share and express myself on what I thought because sometimes you needed to appreciate my opinions first. The effect is that like I said, someone begins to doubt themselves. You begin to second guess whether what you are thinking is right or not. Now, there are steps that can be taken to be able to deal with that. One, you need to be able to raise it up with your spouse and say, look, um, this is affecting me. One, you could say, you could share what you are going to say and think through that, discuss it together and see. I know in some of the meetings, for example, if I had an idea, I would share with you and tell you, you know what, this is what I think. And there are moments where someone has gone ahead and shared the same thing that I wanted to share. And that, in a way, gave you a confirmation of the confidence, I would say, that actually what I was thinking of sharing is not bad. It's a good thing. And that should give you the confidence that I am free and I should be free to express my opinions and my thoughts. Yeah. It's a growth process that you need to go through, but you need to be able to discuss that. And also, I should be able to tell you, you know, this hurts my feeling, this affects my growth, you know, because the more I express myself, my mind becomes free and opens up to think better and helps me in many other ways. So when one does that, you're only trying to hinder someone's growth and it boomerangs to your own self.
Yeah, but then what I wanted us to all also understand is that sometimes this person who is not allowing the other person to express themselves, the problem is with them. Because I remember the times when I used to try to shut you down, especially in meetings. I used to do that. I wasn't sure of you. It wasn't that I wasn't really sure of you. Later, we got to both understand that the issue was I wasn't sure of myself. I had low self-esteem. And so because I had low self-esteem, I thought that Brand might embarrass me. You understand? Because it's about me, you know? Brand's opinion may embarrass me. Because if you remember, when we would be alone and we are together, you would say your things and I thought, wow, they are okay and whatever. Okay. But then when you'd be in a fellowship setting and you'd say something, I would feel like, I think I'm not very sure. Because I don't think I want to excuse myself and say when another person shared, then I got the confidence. No. When the other person shared, I realized that, oh, actually what Brand thought was nice. You understand? But then the other person has already gone ahead and shared. And that was a pain. That was a pain in our marriage at some point because I thought that I was the only one who had the good ideas. Because another thing that hinders that level of communication is where one of the spouses has an inflated opinion of themselves. And I think they're the ones who have the good ideas. And so when the other person is sharing, they think, no, yours are not good enough.
Well, I think it's all about, either way, it's all about one's sense of self-worth or self-concept. How do you appreciate yourself, whether someone is making a wrong opinion or giving a wrong thought? How does that reflect on you necessarily to make you want to put them down? You know, can you still be complete in yourself and confident in yourself when someone else is giving an opinion that probably is not agreeable with you, you know, especially in a marriage setting? And that happens a lot, especially in group meetings, you know, where both spouses are together and things like that. But we need to be able to overcome that wrong self concept or wrong self esteem to begin to accept ourselves, validate ourselves, independent of someone's opinion. Because in that way, we are helping that other person begin to operate at that level very comfortably, to express their feelings, share their opinions and their thoughts without fear of being judged, you know. So they can become vulnerable without being wounded.
Yeah, and I guess now that helps to slide into the fourth level.
Yes.
Because when I begin to share my opinions and you allow me, whether they are good or bad, like, because in all honesty, I can say that you have been gracious to me. You've allowed me, and some of my thoughts and my opinions are crazy, but sometimes you just laugh it off, or you will, not that laughter of you're laughing at me, but okay, you do it, but that is one of the things that has actually helped me grow, and then it has helped us when we overcame the other barrier. We went into the other fourth level. Please talk to us about level 4 and then level 5.
Level 4 is about now sharing your personal feelings and experiences, especially if something wrong happens to me, am I able to freely share that? If I made a mistake, that is costly, can I be able to freely bring up that and share with you and say, look, I made a decision, but unfortunately, it's cost me maybe money, it's affected my relationship with some other people. Can I be able to freely share the full story with you? We need to be able to get to that level where you will allow me to open up and pour out without you interjecting or getting in, Because again, in communication, there is a big aspect of listening. How you listen will encourage another to communicate and to share their feelings, their experiences very freely and to the depth. And it works in so many ways to the good of everyone, because the one who shares, especially like I know with you, there are days when I get home, the first thing before I share anything about my day, you've had a hard day, and you'll open up, pour out, all that you have gone through in the day, some of the pains that you've had during the day. And there are those moments when I'm thinking, wait a minute, I've had a bad day myself as well. Can we first, find out how I am feeling? But I've had to allow you pour out your pain as I listen. And I've learned along the way that most times you're not sharing because you want a solution or you want me to help with an idea, but sometimes you're just trying to lift off, and release that burden that you have, which at the end of it makes you feel better, even when I've not said anything in terms of this is what you should do or not. And it helps you to feel better, And it's, again, for me who is listening, a certain growth that I need to be able to get to, where I need to give up my own rights, where I need to be listened to and share also my part of the day, but I need to grow to allow even my points not to be shared while I listen and understand your point or your pain and help you. Because when I grow to that level, then it means I'm being in control of things for the good of all of us, not just for my own good. I'm not being selfish in trying to look at only my side of my experiences and my feelings, But yes, in that level, anyone should be free to share their mistakes, their feelings, their pains, without any hindrance, without any suppression of any sort.
Wow. And so then we go to level 5.
Yes, level 5 is now where you can freely move, because if you can share your opinions, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, and all, then level 5 becomes a lot easy, because level 5 is about now your desires, your dreams, your emotions, your needs. So those become very easy, and you can almost see the connection between level 4 and 5, because if I can share my pain and my feeling, certainly there's going to be the moment when now I can share, what I need, my emotions without any fear. And you can stay at that level, because at that level now is where you get so intimate, you get so connected that you are beginning to see how to overcome some of these challenges that you have, and to build yourselves and to become better at communicating, where there is no hindrance, no fear, and no fear of judgment. You're as vulnerable as can be, and you trust that your intentions are well meant.
There's someone listening to us and they probably think that it's only the responsibility of their spouse to get them to that level. So they are listening and they're like, but for me, my spouse doesn't allow me to share my feelings, my needs, I want you to speak into both our responsibility. Your personal responsibility to grow in those levels and your spouse's responsibility in the growth of those levels. Because I know that, there is responsibility on both sides.
Yes, for any relationship to succeed, there has to be the willingness of both parties to work at it in all the different levels, different areas of the relationship. There has to be the desire to grow in knowledge, to grow in understanding, to grow in wisdom. If you need to plug into with some people that are able to help you in your area of weakness outside your spouse, then you need to be able to do that. Let other people who can objectively look into your life get in and be able to tell you, you have this challenge in your area. And maybe you need to seek help and you need to do this and that and get onto that. Okay? Because if you begin to feel, and that's where sometimes the problem in certain marriages are, that the husband or the wife will feel for them they're okay. The problem is with the other side. That alone is a wrong mentality because it doesn't help both of you to grow and to deal with that issue. One of the things that we try to do is to admit, even when sometimes, you're not in the wrong. And I believe every relationship needs to do that. The one who feels they are right probably needs to be more humble and accept and to give grace to the other person who feels, yes, maybe they deserve to be, appreciated, accepted, even when they are really doing wrong, to allow them that grace. And that grace will be able to empower them to begin to see that, by the way, I actually need that help myself. So we need to be gracious to each other. We need to, for the good of every one of us, we need to be able to work to be to build that communication, to build that marriage together. One of the things I learned reading about managing conflicts, which happens a lot in relationships. There's a book by Joyce Haggett where she says, in the area of conflict, whenever there's a conflict or an issue in a relationship, there is no saint. You can't say, me, I'm right, the other person is wrong. It can't be that there is a saint, in that. Both of you, what it means is can take a step to be able to work to make things better. Even when you feel you are actually the best person, you are more suited to be able to help this relationship to become better.
Wow. Wow. Okay. In the area of conflict, when there is a conflict, there is no saint.
There's no saint in the area of no conflict.
Like I may not make it to heaven. But Brand, let's talk about intimacy. Let's talk about the sexual union in a marriage through those levels. Imagine sex at level 1. Do we even want to imagine it? But let's imagine it. Imagine it at level 2. Yeah, just talk to us about how our intimacy as believers, what intimacy is like as believers through those levels.
Yes, when it comes to the area of sex and communication, they are so linked at almost every level. And of course, there is a difference. Now, the way ladies are created and the way they appreciate sex is different from the way men appreciate that. From a natural point, a sheer humanity aspect, men most likely can be able to have a certain level of sex even at level 1. Okay? Because
men can have sex at the level what?
yeah, at a sheer human
Sharing information.
yes, because of the way the creation, being able to handle things at a certain high level.
Yeah.
Because ladies move down to the level of feelings to be able to appreciate sex, especially the emotional aspects. They should be able to feel that emotion to be able to appreciate. So sex is just a culmination of all that for a lady. For men, it's a bit different. But when it comes to now really having to enjoy that intimacy, both need to be able to grow to that level. Because again, sex is not about the selfish desire and the interest of one person. It should be for the good of both of you. It's more about giving to the other than receiving. So when you think about it from the point of, I need to give to you, I need to have you enjoy sex, then I'll be thinking more about you, your feelings, your enjoyment, your emotions, your needs, your desires, more than my own satisfaction. And so it's important that we need to ensure we are at that level where we are emotionally connected, where we are at the same level of feelings. And that has to be genuine. It doesn't have to be faked because of covering up as a result of someone's selfish interests. So it's important that yes, as men and also as some of the wives, we build ourselves to that level. And that means communication has to be a part of it all through and through. Right from the beginning of the day, you know, you read books where it says sex starts in the kitchen, you know. What it means is how do you support someone? The issues of house chores or duties. How do we get involved in all these things together? Or is it a clear separation of roles where you have to do this, me, I only do this, I can't cross this line? Those will begin to affect your intimacy. I believe that the more overlapping your roles are, where you share together in the different house chores, the better it will be for your intimacy. Because it's not an issue of, I've done my duties, you do yours. Yeah. But when you share that, the appreciation will be much better and the intimacy will be much more appreciated.
Okay, because also I think that as we do the house chores together, as we work together, we are getting more talking points that are going to move us from the level of just sharing information to the level of talking about people, to the level of, you know, because if I'm sharing with you about how Israel washes the dishes different from Ronel, we've gotten a talking point. Therefore, we have quickly moved from level 1 to level 2. And then we can move from that level of talking about other people to talking about ourselves, because I can then tell you that I find it hard to make chapati. You understand? So somehow even the house chores are helping us to move towards level 5 of communication. Talk to us about how these levels of communication are also intertwined with now our dreams as a couple, how we now end up investing and how we handle money. How is that playing? Like at level 1, where we just share information, how much investment are we going to do together? How much, you know? Just talk to us about.
When it comes to investments and money, there has to be a lot of communication, certainly, because one, you need to be able to share. I should be able to share with you that, look, I have this money, okay? This is how I got the money. And this is what I think we can do with the money, you know, how we can invest, how we can use it in the home setting. That is an aspect of getting to be open and share your personal life, share your feelings as well. Because you see, money for most people, it's their life. You know, it's what they have worked for. They have gotten sometimes through a very hard process, and so they can feel the pain of having that
The money is intertwined with feelings.
Yes. So if you are able to communicate your feelings generally, you should be able to communicate about money as well and say, look, this is how much I've been able to get, and let's discuss. Let's see how we can build it up, grow it to help us as a family. If we are not able to share, if people at level 1 and 2, where well, someone is taking care of some other needs, you don't know how much they earn, whether the money comes in, it's going to be hard for the two to discuss together investment. One will probably do their own, another one will do their own, and because you're supposed to help only in this area, you will focus on that. And that creates, again, a lot of challenges because they become suspicion points, because someone will begin to wonder how much money does someone have. The next time you only see they've bought something and you're like, how did they get this? There is that feeling of you're separate, you don't feel a part of someone's life, of whatever decisions that they're making. And so that will begin to actually create a gap. And that even has an effect in terms of your sexual life, because you're not too sure how someone is living out their lives, because yes, they go work, bring the money, or well, get the money and invest it. You'll have a lot of questions in your mind, and that begins to affect your intimacy as well. So how you discuss, how you openly share and plan your money has an effect. One, it shows your level of communication, but also it has an effect on your other aspects of life.
Of life. As we start to cruise towards an end, I want you to take us through, because now I want us to discuss how people can be able to move from level 1 to level 5, and of course we'll share some things that we have been able to do together as a couple that have helped us to move from that level to level 5, because I think we have been at level 5 for quite a while. I can attest to that. You can tell me your silly things, and sometimes I'm like, Brand, that's silly, but then you're able to say it, and we laugh, and I can say it, and we have been, yeah, of course, the truth of the matter is, as a human being, there is always that little that stays, where you want to be sure, and so sometimes you share just a little bit to test the waters. Even in the area of intimacy, even in the area of sex, sometimes you want your spouse to do a certain thing to you, but you're like, oh my God, this is what I feel, but is it safe? But as you share it and then it is received well, you go on to the next level and the next level. So in order for us to progress towards that, I want you to share with us the levels of effective communication, the things about listening, because I think most of the things, and I think you had them somewhere here, because you shared a bit of that with me. I think that effective communication, the thing about listening, the verbal and the non-verbal, where you have the passive, the active, and that, I think that helps us to gel this conversation before we even share some personal.
Yes, listening is very key in communication, because through listening to the verbal, non-verbal, you're able to tap into someone's spirit and know really, one, how they feel, and also in their mind, in their heart, what they are communicating, what they are thinking. So it's very essential that we learn to listen. We give attention, we focus, and look at someone. And again, we teach young children to be able to look at someone when they're talking to them, and that in a way creates that connection. You're able to see all the facial expressions. You're able to see and feel and get to know, because through your words you might hide some certain things, but your feelings may not, but as I listen to you, I will begin to see that you're saying this, but I feel there is something from the expression that is not coming out clearly, and so I'll be able to probe and begin to ask, okay, how are you feeling, I will probably begin to link it with something else that you shared earlier. And that happens a lot. You find probably you have a sick, let's say, parent or a sick child, as, because this is not in a marriage setting, I'm giving general example. But as someone is talking, you begin to feel the connection, and you might be prompt to ask, so how is your child? And that can bring a lot of pain, because that is, the pain point that you're touching, and they will just pour out a lot of the pain that is in them. And in that way, you have actually touched base so well with someone. You've been able to hear them clearly, and you've been able to understand what they're going through. So in a marriage setting as well, we need to get to that level, which is the empathic listening, where we place ourselves in the emotions of someone else. Okay? As they speak, we begin to feel ourselves in the same kind of situation and imagine ourselves in their shoes and feel what they are feeling, be it excitement, be it joy or pain. As we do that, we connect better. As we do that, we appreciate them and they appreciate us better. Not just at the level of passive listening, where you just are listening, but you're not really connecting with, you're not paying attention. But we need to move from passive to active, and then to empathic listening, where you are able to feel someone. These days, we have the term of emotional awareness, emotional intelligence. That has all to do with being able to feel people's emotions and also share your emotions. You need to be aware of that, because that is the deepest effective level to which we can communicate.
Yeah. You remember we actually had a fight one time where I thought that if you come in the kitchen after work and I'm busy cooking and you're there telling me, I thought that was communication. You remember that fight we had? And one day you just came to me and you said, you know something, Eunice, I think that for me, when I am communicating, I like it when someone is into me. I like it when you stop and listen to me. And I remember it was a fight because I was thinking, then how am I going to cook and finish and put the food on the table and whatever? And you said, well, I would rather we don't talk at that time. We finish, you finish the food and everything, and then we come back to the bedroom and talk. And yeah, it took me some time to get, but now I get it. In fact, I also get irritated now when I'm talking to you and you're washing clothes. You know what I mean? You know that Saturday drill. I also, because there are even times I say, Brand, stop and look at me. Am I smart? Am I looking good? Something like that. Because now I get it from your perspective. But at that time, because I wasn't practicing active and empathic listening, because what you've not practiced or experienced, you can't give to another person. So because I wasn't practicing it or feeling it, I thought that what I was doing was, the passive was okay. Now you got me to a level where I experience empathic listening, and then now you're not listening to me and into me. No, 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 no. But I want us to share, even as we come to our close, because in order for people to have empathic listening, to get into my shoes, there has to be certain things that have to be done. What are some of the things we have done as a couple to make sure that we get to that place? Maybe I will share one as you put your mind together to share a few others, because some have been your initiative. But one of the things that we did when we got married is we made a decision to always have a retreat together, and not a retreat of prayer. I know, as born agains, as believers, we want to say we went away to pray. That sounds very, very spiritual. That's a believer, right? But away from being a believer and doing these spiritual things, we need to connect. I like something you said about getting into my spirit, connecting with my spirit. It's at the empathic level, it is spirit to spirit, it's soul to soul. And we have had those things in our marriage where sometimes you tell me I've lost the connection. You get what I mean? Like, there are even times we feel like, no, I've lost the connection. I need to do something. I don't feel you. I have lost the connection. But one of the things that we do as a couple is we do retreats, and I'm thankful to God for those. We've done them even when our babies were babies. We found a place to leave them. Because sometimes what is coming in the way of the empathic reasoning is that baby, the one that's crawling, that's crying, that's what. And so we would go away, find a hotel, find a retreat place, pay in and take a weekend. It has had, each one of us has had to put in some work, some money, because sometimes, especially Brand, who has been the active worker in the marketplace, he has to either leave, not work on Friday, or ask for leave, or leave half day, or take a whole Saturday and then come back on Sunday, or take Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think that is one of the things that helped us. I really, really believe that those retreats helped us a lot, and retreating without the children. That is why we usually tell couples that it's important that you have some friends, people you can leave the child with, even for a day, even for a night, because I know some couple is listening and is like, what about if our baby is a toddler? But we used to leave them. I remember we would drive Israel to mom's place and leave him there. So for me, that's one of the things that I think helped us to. What are some of the things that?
Yes, one of the other things that has helped us is having groups or people that we are accountable to,
Yep.
where we've together drawn plans in the different areas where we feel we need growth,
Yep.
where we say in this year we want to grow in communication, or we want to grow in the management of our finances. And we've had people that hold us accountable in that area, and we share with them. So that has been one of the things that has helped us to be able to work towards that. But also it meant that we needed to sit down, plan together, and have targets. Create a vision of where we want to be in these different areas. We know where we are in this area, but we want to move to another place. So we need to define that place we want to go to and see how we work towards that, and create, points where we are able to get back and see how are we doing in our journey to that point. Are we on track? Do we need some support? Do we need any resources here to help guide us? And yes, those have been some of the things that have helped us. And every year, again, we are able to sit down and evaluate and say, okay, this is what we decided that we wanted to do in this area of our lives. How have we performed? Did we achieve or not? Why did we not? And how can we improve? How can we make it better to still be able to continue? We desire not to give up, because the moments when there will be challenges, there will be setbacks, even among ourselves, probably will feel like, this is very tough, very painful, but you commit and you're on this journey for the long haul. So you will, even if it means crawling, you'll make sure you crawl, but you don't stop as you move to your desired end.
Wow. And people usually accuse Brand and I of being over planners. It's one of those things that even people in our married sales have said, you people are over planned. But we are where we are because we over plan. We really overly plan, and we really overly go into those things. We even plan, I know times when we have consistently had at least one breakfast together in town. Those also helped us to move through the levels of communication. Those retreats are usually not just for us to have fun. Sometimes they are retreats for us to evaluate. Sometimes they are retreats for us to just be intimate, like that's all we are doing all weekend. We are quite something. And then there are times when we have that retreat to plan for the children. And then there are times we have that retreat just to simply have fun, like fun. Not your body inside mine, but fun, right? We've learned to laugh together. We have played games together. We have intentionally bought some games and, done some Scrabble together and laughed at each other, or Tio, and, things like that. And all those things have helped us. But as I close this podcast, I want to also tell us that even the way God communicates with us, our relationship with God goes through those levels. You agree, Brand? Like when you've just gotten to know Jesus, you can be just at the level of information. You know, this is what he said and what knowing about God, knowing what God does and what. But as you get closer, as you keep pursuing, as you create time, just like we've created time to have the coffee, as you create the time to have that coffee with Jesus, you move from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 4. And that is exactly what happens even in parenting, even as we pray over our children. You understand? When you are at the level where you just pray for the food with the children, even the information that God gives you about the children is sort of at that level. You sort of communicate at that level. When you take time to go and retreat concerning the children, then your level with God gets different. That is how we see the way God talks to Abraham about Isaac, and the way God talks to Samson's mother about Samson, the way God talks to Zachariah about John is different from the way some people were born. There was somehow no God in it. Like there was sort of the level 5, the level of this is what I feel. He will shepherd my people Israel. He will, So, and that is why I want to take this time to invite you to Travels of a Mother. Because at Travels of a Mother, what we are doing is we are trying to get ourselves to level 5 communication concerning our children, so that then God can say about us the way he said about Abraham, how can I do this thing without telling my friend Brand? How can I do this thing without telling my friend Eunice? How can I allow Israel to go without me revealing it to my servants, the prophets? That is what we are doing. I want you, Brand, to close this podcast by inviting the mothers out there to come for Travels of a Mother, but by also inviting the fathers to communicate and, release their wives to come. And then we will close it. And next week we'll come back here and we'll talk about something else. I've enjoyed myself very much.
All right. Yes, I encourage the mothers and especially the fathers. I am more of a mother's effort, having been brought up the greater part of my life by my mother. And because of her desire to connect with God through prayer, she didn't know much. I believe she knew less than probably a lot of you know now, but she was able to guide me to who I am today. And she encouraged me to attend prayer, sessions and to read the Bible. And I believe that, yes, a lot of you out there as mothers, you need to be able to do that for your children. Please don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't feel that you're unable to transform the future, the destiny of your children or the generations after. You are well able and you have so much at your disposal to get to that level, to connect at that level. And through these travels, please do not miss that opportunity to tap into that together with a group of other mothers. And as husbands, as men, please challenge the ladies in your lives to be able to connect at that level. I believe that will be a blessing to you as well. As you see the mothers, as you see the wives and the sisters connect, I believe we partake of that blessing as husbands, as men. And so it's in our duty as men to be able to encourage that. And especially if you're a husband, as a priest, probably one of the things we'll share about next week. You know that you have to encourage that in your environment, in your area of influence. So please encourage the mothers to be able to connect the travels.
Okay, until next week, we are Eunice and Brand. We are the Adubangos. And we want to say thank you so much for coming today and watching. Share the link, subscribe, and God bless you. Let's say bye to the people. Bye bye.